and welcome back. You're still watching Morning Thailand with us, Phai and Golf. Now let's get to the update of the situation of the impact of Wutip, the typhoon that has been weakened into the tropical depression already and has made landfall in Vietnam since the beginning of this week, Monday evening, and has already hit Nakhon Phanom province, the northeastern province of Thailand, as soon as the early in the morning of Tuesday at around 4 a.m. in the morning, and with the center in the central Nakhon Phanom province. And it seems that a lot of provinces in the north and northeastern region has been affected by this particular tropical storm.
And they have to brace for like strong winds as well,
and heavy downpours in the next several days, of course. And also 11 provinces have been warned for evacuation. These provinces including Nakhon Phanom, Mukdahan, Kalasin, Nong Khai, Bungkan, Sakol Nakhon, Udon Thani, Nong Bua Lampu, Loi and Khon Kaen, and also Chayapum province, mostly the provinces in the northeastern part of the country. And since the beginning of this week, there were reports of downpours in these particular provinces as well, including Phitsanulok and Phetchabun in the central region. There were reports of a tree that has been destroyed, causing accident in the local areas, and also one person has been reported dead. Kun Amnat Sithirom, age 64, he has been reported of going out fishing in his hometown area in Roi Et province and had been gone since then. So now the flooding situation in several provinces that had been experiencing the inundation for several weeks now. In some areas that have experienced heavy rainfall, the situation is still critical. However, in some provinces there were reports of an improvement now that the water level has been reduced. In Prachinburi province, the province that has been severely affected right now, the Water and Flood Management Commission is now considering cutting a section of the Klong Bang Kuan Canal in Kabinburi and Mahapot district in order to divert water into the fields in the areas to drain flood waters into Bang Pakong River, because Kun Plat Prasop Suratsawadi said that it's the problems of the location, the plan of the province that caused a lot of inundation in the provinces. However, he said that the construction of the canal over the 52-kilometer distance would cost around 3 billion baht, so that the budget the government has to allocate for this particular project. Kun Plot Prasop has traveled to inspect the flooding in Prachinburi over the weekend, and he said that the flooding there would ease in 7 days if there's no more rain. So we're hoping that the situation in Prachinburi will be improving.
Yeah, I've seen the picture and it was quite bad. I mean, a lot of, if you take a look at Channel 3, they're quite active in terms of visited the area and, you know, just live report on daily basis at this point of the situation there, because it got hit quite hard.
Yeah, and now the floods have been reduced to just 23 provinces that have, 20 dates so far, including this one more in Roi Et province, and also 25 provinces are still experiencing the heavy flood situation, mostly in the north and northeast, according to the Disaster of Prevention and Mitigation Department. The DPMO office said that Ubon Ratchathani andศรีสะเกษ are now expected the decreasing of flood levels over the next 3 days, as officials have already drained water into the Moon River. And he expected the situation in several districts of Prachinburi provinces will ease as well. As I said, Kun Plat Prasop said that the poor city planning of Kabinburi district of Prachinburi is the cause that causing the water to be obstructed and flooded into the local communities area. In the central region, Ayutthaya seems to be the provinces that experienced lot of effects from this monsoon season. Now, 8 districts of Ayutthaya province remain flooded, including the Pranakon Ayutthaya district. Officials in Ayutthaya warn that the water levels in the districts are continuing to rise. So, Bangkok, which is located nearby, we're still
obviously not completely
that confident.
Right. The thing is, I think the BMA has trying to come out and say that, you know, they are having everything under control. But at this point, it's only a matter of time in terms of to see whether or not how bad of an impact these particular monsoon would actually be. The typhoon that, you know, changed into tropical depression already. But the thing is, they say that I believe Pasak Chunlasit is pretty much at 111 of the capacity already. I reported 107 just yesterday, and I believe right now we're looking at 111. So it doesn't seem to be decreasing at all. And plus the Japraya River probably can only take so much. So at this point, it's not something that new or shocking of a news. That's one of the things. So not to be too alarmed, but still, if you live in the area, be a little bit more careful.
And people in Bangkok still not that rest assured, yes, because there's still water that has to be discharged from upstream of the Chao Phraya River, including the Chao Phraya Dam, the Pasak Cholasit, and also the Rama 6 Dam. And yesterday, Mom Ratchabong Sukhumpan Boripat, the Bangkok governor, and his team had inspected the situation of Praram Hok Dam in Ayutthaya province.
Right.
For the situation, and he said that Bangkok will be safe from flooding.
Will be.
See. That's it. His expectation. However, some district of Bangkok, like Rangsit, right, that is near Ayutthaya, still have to brace for the situation.
Exactly, and don't forget, the situation is that there's problem about the drainage system right here in Bangkok as well. That seems to be clogging quite a bit. So that might create quite a bit of a problem. All right, move on to another interesting case. Like I have mentioned, there has been a talk about the extension for the free buses that you might have seen riding around. Of course, these are only the one that, you know, painted red and said that free buses and such, not all the buses, especially not those air-conditioned ones. So those doesn't count. There's also a train as well, train rides, but that's only for third class. Now this is actually especially to alleviate the expenses, you know, high expenses that seems to be after us quite a bit here in Thailand. Now, of course, at this point, as you can see there, Kun Chachat,
the transport minister, he has experienced the free bus rides once again. It seems that Kun Chachat has been quite active.
Oh yeah,
recently, right?
Oh yes, he's quite active, and obviously this is one of the things that Kun Chachat trying to do. Now they say that at this point you will get to enjoy the extension will run from October the 1st to March the 31st of next year, and it will cost the state more than 2 billion baht. But of course, this is some of the subsidies that the transport ministry are trying to give to the people. This will including 800 buses per day in 73 routes, and for the third class train it will be about 164 train rides per day, and obviously also 8 train rides for the long distance train as well. But as you can see, the third class train would not have the air conditioning. However, one of the another interesting proposal that Kun Chachat, the transport minister, have is that they will try to explore the feasibility of issuing barcoded ID cards to the low-income commuters so that it will be strictly for the low income. So that means that the travelers like tourists or people that might be a little bit more well off, you might not get to enjoy this, which I would say the bus ride in Thailand, even if you have to pay, is still quite cheap. So, you know, it is not a bad idea to strictly have these particular services catered toward only the low income. And he said that, Kun Chachat said that he's trying to find a way to close the loophole in the current scheme, which allow middle income and wealthy commuters along with foreign tourists to take advantage of these free journeys. And he wants to put an end to free bus fleet and instead install the barcode reader in all the city buses, including private coaches, using portion of the budget to allocate it for this particular scheme. So obviously at this point, he is trying very hard to make sure that the system is systematic enough and efficient enough, so that way it will be used in the long term instead of, just keep on extending for, because it's mainly supposed to be geared toward the low income people anyway.
Yeah.
But you have to admit, a lot of people, especially tourists, use this particular services as well. So I guess we're going to have to wait and see how this is going to go.
Yes, of course. Now moving on to another case that has been on the front pages during the last year.
Right.
The case about the former PAD leader Kun Sonthi Limthongkul, and he has been in a certain numbers of legal conflicts regarding his movement leading
Wait a bit.
Now, there's a case yesterday that the appeals court has sentenced Kun Sonthi to 2 years in prison for offending the monarchy during his speech in the Yellow Shirt movement back in the year 2008. However, this is the overturn of the lower court's acquittal in July of last year.
Oh.
The appeals court rejected his defense that he was merely citing parts of the rally speech made by rival Richard Kundarani Chancheng Silapakul or Da Torpedo in order to have her arrested by police for violating the lese majeste law. It happened on the night of 18th to the 19th of July 2008, where Kundarani or Kunda Torpedo had said some comments.
Right, made comments, let's just say that, that would imply tarnishing the reputation of the royal. Exactly.
And Kun Sonthi had cited her comments during his Yellow Shirt
So
movement.
he's not making that comment, he
cited
it on the stage
in order to press authority to prosecute this particular Richard co-leader, and it happened the following night, the 20th of July, which is only one day. However, the court said that by repeating what Kundarani had said, Kun Sonthi was not careful enough and ended up spreading the remarks defaming the monarchy to those who had not heard Kundarani's remark before. So he was guilty of committing a crime also. Now Kundarani is serving a 15-year jail term for what she said. However, she is now seeking a royal pardon. While Kun Sonthi, at that time, he addressed a PAD rally on July the 20th, where he alluded to her comments. Kun Sonthi's sentence had been reduced from 3 years to 2 years. The court cited that he has been cooperated very well during the trial. Earlier in July of 2012, the lower court found Kun Sonthi not guilty, as it concluded that Kun Sonthi had no intention of insulting the royal institution, and yesterday he was freed on the 500,000 baht bail pending further review of the Supreme Court. Kun Sonthi said that he was pretty sure that what he did was not violating any law or constitution.
Because obviously PAD, we know that they are for the royal family, but so obviously this is one of the case that a lot of people are, I guess it's interesting case, but obviously if you cited someone else, sometimes it could be seen as spreading that word. So it's one of those gray area where, what can you do?
Because we heard a warning in the social media as well for not spreading or sharing the pictures or even comments.
Exactly. And we have, as the reporters, we have to be careful of what we said as well, just to make sure that, it doesn't it doesn't seem like we are repeating that in terms of insulting.
However, Kun Suwat Apai Park, the lawyer of the PAD, said that he believed that the prosecution of Kun Sonthi, the overturning of the lower court's verdict, had something to do with Kun Sonthi's attempt to stop the changes in Article 112.
All right, so very interesting indeed, obviously. Let's move on to another interesting case. Now, yesterday there has been a meeting of the senators, and one of the things that presented at the meeting is the 3 reports that has been done by the National Human Rights Commission. And all these 3 reports talking about the situation back in 2008 to 2010. However, a lot of senators are not very happy with the reports, saying that within the report itself, the content seems to be a bit biased because they would present certain information but withhold some, according to several of the senators. Now they say that at this point they have shown, according to Kun Vichan Siri Chai Ekawat, one of the senators, saying that in this particular report, citing the situation back in 2008 involving the PAD or the yellow shirt, as well as versus the report back in 2009 to 2010 of the red shirt and such, that the situation, both the reports has shown quite a bit of a bias, because it seems like the situation, the report that talking about the red shirt seems to imply that the protesters itself are the one that instigate the violence, and hence creating or pushing for the military to move on, and using helicopters or tear gas, or even there's talk about the bullets that has been flying around during the time. However, as for the PAD reports, it seems like for the yellow shirt, that doesn't seem to happen in the report. So, for example, the taking over of the Suvarnabhumi airport, as you can see earlier there, as well as the government house and such. And they say that the report itself just kind of show quite a bit of a bias. So at this point, the senators are requesting that the National Human Rights Commissions submit another more, I guess, neutral report, because at this point they believe that it just show the fact that this doesn't, show any fairness to both parties, especially for the red shirt. Now, of course, the 40 senator group that obviously pushing for the not amending, I guess.
Pushing for the court injunction, right, regarding the amendment bill.
So the 40 senator group actually at this point has come out and giving support to all the NHRC commissioners and people that actually put together the report, saying that, well, it's different because during the red shirt violence back in 2008 to 2010, 2009 to 2010, the protesters seems to have all the ammunition. There's bombs, C4 bomb in sight. So that's why they say that it instigate the violence and such, and is forced to put the military to move in full force and use a little bit more aggressive, I guess, tactic to deal with the protesters, versus the fact that the PAD did not have that. And that according to the 40 senator group. So at this point, I guess the National Human Rights Commission is going to have to take a look at their report and see whether or not they're going to have to adjust anything, or because obviously this one is Sedang, is one of the red shirt core leader who unfortunately passed away, and he was shot dead on site. At this point, I think is still ongoing in terms of an investigation into his death. All right. So I guess let's end the session with that particular news. However, obviously we're gonna follow through in terms of the amendment that I had just mentioned, and to see whether or not the 40 senators come up with another tactic to actually stop it. And some good news. It seems like we might get a 5 days holidays for New Year. So stay tuned.